Welcome to Oh Hell No with Nicole.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Oh Hell No podcast. Today we have Carell Starr. She is a blogger and on-air tech and lifestyle host, and she has appeared on some of our favorite daytime shows, sharing her expertise in the areas of fashion, technology, and overall lifestyle. Hi, Carell. Thank you for being with me today.
Hi, Nicole. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you. So the first thing I want to ask you is, what was your major in school?
So my major in school was actually communications, public relations.
Oh my God, that's what I got my master's in.
Yeah, PR.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
tell me, have you worked in PR?
I have. I started my career out in public relations. So I actually was in PR for about a little bit over a decade before I decided to sort of move into more of the journalism side of everything. And so decided to switch a couple years ago and start my own blog and then sort of switch sides of the house.
Wow. So how did you like doing public relations? I mean, you can be honest with me. You could tell me.
Well, I loved it. So I actually worked in consumer PR, so working for big brands like Diageo and consumer brands like Target, and so working for agencies that represented those types of brands, working for fashion houses, wellness brands and beauty brands. And so I spent a lot of time working for those type of brands. I didn't have any like really trying moments in PR, but was always really great at it. You know, my role was always to get my clients more press, of course, and more awareness. And so reaching out to media and reaching out to bloggers and influencers and journalists, it's sort of like what I've been doing for years. And so when I did switch to sort of starting my own site, I knew how to sort of make those connections and make those conversations. So I loved working in PR. It sort of set me up for the next phase.
Wow, that's amazing. My experience was not like that. I worked at I worked at this agency. They were so mean to me. It was like the worst working experience of my life, and it made me like not want to be in PR anymore. But I actually did leave and then try to get something else, and I never was able to get another position in public relations.
Well, I think because PR is filled up with a lot of mean girls. We call them PR bitches.
Oh my God. So it wasn't just in my head. Yeah, it was terrible.
So the goal is not to be one of them.
Yeah, absolutely not. No way. So what was it that made you decide that, okay, I want to get more into journalism and do that side of things?
Well, honestly, I've always loved writing. I've always loved, honestly, I've loved writing. I've loved journalism. I've loved reporting for a long time. And it's not something that I studied in school, but obviously it goes hand in hand with PR so closely. And I would do all this writing for my clients, whether it's press releases or media alerts, and all these documents, bios. I would have to interview my clients sometimes so that I would understand the story that I was trying to tell on their behalf. Mm-hmm. And so I was always doing these sort of roles, but I wasn't in sort of journalism. And so I decided to start my own blog, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, just on the side and covering things that that I was interested in, technology and fashion and beauty and entrepreneurs. And just started doing that and sharing it on social, sharing it on Facebook, and sort of just getting readers from there. And so it was really just a natural extension of doing the things I always loved to do. And the PR people who I do work with and have always been very supportive of me and my sort of goals. And so, they would send me products to review and that sort of thing. So there are good people in PR as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. I really believe that, but I just don't know. This goes back to the whole purpose of my podcast, right? Because I feel like in some people's lives, things align the way they're supposed to so that you can do what you're supposed to do. And I just thought that was what I was supposed to be doing, right? So when it didn't work out for me, I was so devastated that I got this position, and I wanted to be doing what you were doing, working in consumer, but I got a travel account. And it was just like, why did I get this? Why did I pick this damn egg? It's, it's rotten. you know? And why, when I stuck my hand back in the basket, didn't I get another egg? So, but it's just weird. Certain things you're supposed to go through a different path to, get to where you're going. So
Exactly. Everyone's got their own past. Like if you hadn't gone through that, you wouldn't have started your show probably. Like
yeah.
you'd be too busy traveling, like with your clients, like trying to keep the account, and you wouldn't have time to do what you're doing now. So every path, like if people get on the path, sometimes it comes unexpectedly.
Yeah, definitely. So what you do now, you blog and you do like appearances, and you do your lifestyle and technology stuff. Is that something that you are doing as Carell Star, like on your own, like an entrepreneur, or do you work for a company? How does that work for you?
So a little bit of both. So I do some lifestyle segments, and they just to represent my blog. And so every once in a while, I'll do like a tech segment. It'll be based on something that I've written about on my blog and a news outlet that I have contacts with. I'll pitch them a story, and they'll say, "Come on," and do sort of a visual version of my story, but on camera. I also freelance and do some reporting work for a couple of outlets as well, where the outlets pay me to come and actually cover stuff for them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do both sides of the house. So I'll pitch stuff just naturally, and then I also work with a couple of outlets where they pay me as a contributor, correspondent, to actually cover different topics for them as well.
So when you finally left PR and decided to venture into this side of the business the way that you are, what would you say has been the most difficult part of what you're doing as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would say, definitely making sure that like all the bills are paid. Number one, like I still do a lot of marketing. I actually work with, I actually still have my day job where I work a full-time job, just not in PR, more on the marketing side of the house.
Oh, okay.
And so just making sure, all the bills are paid. If you're going to step off and sort of move and change careers, you want to make sure that you can do it comfortably. And so making sure that's taken care of. And then also just finding the time to balance it all. If I could do 1,000 TV segments a week, I would. But obviously, you want to make sure that you are leaving yourself enough time to do all the other things that are important to you as well. So just making sure that you always have that balance. And then also, honestly, one of the hardest things to sort of switch over is, when I'm trying to get a reporting job or a correspondent job, I'm going up against people who've been doing it for like 15 and 20 years or 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I just sort of, 6 years ago decided I wanted to move into this area. So proving myself to a lot of the producers and a lot of the editors and showing them that, I'm going to work harder than anyone else you would give this particular role to or this camera time to. I'm going to be here. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to give you the best possible story. If we need to reshoot it 5 times, I'm here for you. And so just making sure that I let them know that like I really want this and showing that to them and delivering.
Yeah, that's awesome. I also work a full time, so I get it, girl. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is not easy to juggle, but like once you find the things that you really love to do, it's kind of not like work.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yep. So that's how I feel about the podcast. I love doing it, and I just feel like I feel like I put a lot of work, like what you just said about if it's not right, you have to reshoot it. And, I feel like I put most of my energy and work and time into my podcast more so than anything else. So, and I love it. And even though when I'm tired and I'm like, oh my God, I have to edit this episode, I don't want to, but it just keeps me going, just the love of it.
Exactly. Like you'll always find your second win when it's the thing that you love doing. You're just like, I can do it. I can do it.
Right. And everything, I mean, you doing marketing in the daytime and then doing this in, on the off time. I mean, it all still like connects, so.
Exactly. It all still works together. And it keeps me on my toes, definitely for technology. I mean, some of the stuff I'll do on, my side projects on camera, it helps out my marketing. I'm like, oh, do you know they're using this type of program now? And they have no idea.
Right.
So it definitely helps out.
How did you develop a love for technology? When did you realize that you were so interested in technology?
It's funny. I discovered I love technology in college. So I actually worked for Radio Shack.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually how I put myself through school, was working basically a full-time job as I was going to school. And so I had to learn everything about technology for the store. Like they have these classes that they put you through to learn about basically every single product in the store.
Mm-hmm.
And so you do like this 3-week training when you first start with a company, or at least you did, they've gone out of business now, but you do like this 3-week training, and then you'd have these continuing sort of educational assessments that you'd have to take. And so you had to learn all about like a particular product. And so I just loved it. I loved learning about it. I loved playing with the toys when they come in. I loved all the new gadgets. I'd be the first one. Like I'd be like, oh, I want to open the boxes. So I wanted to see what was coming in and figure out how to use them. And I love talking to customers about them. So I have just always been really into technology, and it sort of just stayed with me. So I graduated from school, and even, when I finally started making some money in my job, I'd be buying, the first version of a product, like, pins that scan your paper so you don't have to type, and, newest TVs, and learning about HD and Blu-ray and all these other things. And so like I was always an early adopter and the first one to get a piece of technology of any of my friends, because I've always been really interested in it. And so like you've sort of become like the expert in your circle because of that. So like I was already sort of sharing my thoughts on these products, but just within a smaller circle. And now I get to do it a little larger.
Nice. So how do you keep up with all the latest technology? What do you use? Do you listen to a podcast? Do you, read a tech magazine? How do you keep up to date?
I read a lot of the tech blogs, a lot of the tech magazines. I actually do a lot of deeper dives into the actual brand sites themselves. Like I'm always in the Apple blog. I'm always checking out what Samsung's got happening. I'm actually reading their their press rooms and their websites to see what might be coming down the pipeline. I also find out a lot of stuff on Twitter. Like there's a lot of leaks that come out that way as well. So you'll know what's coming down the pipe earlier. I go to some of the conventions, like the smaller tech shows and trade shows here in New York City. I haven't made my way to CES yet, though it's on my list of places to get to. But like I'm actually on their email list. So I get press releases and things really early about new products that are coming out, 2 or 3 years down the line. And so I just sort of try to stay in it that way so I know what's coming out.
Wow. So tell us a little bit about your love for fashion.
I've always loved fashion. You can tell from the name of my site, Not Just a Girl in a Dress. I have a big love for dresses. I wear a dress almost every single day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on what I have going on. I've always just really loved fashion. I think fashion is just a great way to sort of express yourself, to sort of show your personality. And it's something that I've always been attracted to. And I think it's just part of me that's really creative, just sort of comes through in my clothes and what I choose to wear. I used to even get to do some styling now when I do some on TV segments with different models. I get to style them for the different segments. And so just showing my creativity that way, it just feels very like powerful and impactful.
Yeah, definitely. I have a girlfriend and she wears dresses all the time and she always looks so pretty. I'm like, you're such a lady. I love it. So when I saw your picture and I saw your B-roll and you're like all these little dresses, I'm like, oh my gosh, you look so cute. I love it.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Wearing dresses is like a life hack. You put it on and everyone's like, you look so put together. And it's like, yes. I put on one article of clothes.
No, I know. You just look beautiful and so ladylike, it's fabulous. I love it.
So, well, I think that's a tip for anyone. If you want people to think you're put together, just put on a dress. I'm telling you.
Absolutely.
It's a life hack.
It really is. So what is your favorite place to find a great bargain when it comes to shopping?
Lately, and this is from growing up, but like, honestly, I've been really into secondhand. So Goodwill. I know some people are iffy about going to Goodwill. Some people don't like the idea of wearing someone else's clothes, but it's never bothered me. I'm used to hand-me-downs. So it's never, ever bothered me. But like Goodwill, secondhand stores have some really great bargains out there, so you don't always have to spend a lot to look amazing. You can find some really good pieces. I also love boutique shops. There's a shop called Meow and Bark that you can order from. They're actually in Florida, but you can order off their website. They have some amazing pieces. I absolutely love them. And there's a cute little shop in Hoboken, New Jersey, so not too far outside of New York City. You can take the PATH train there if you guys are familiar with the area. And it's right in Hoboken. It's a great little shop called Mint Market, and they have some amazing pieces. A lovely entrepreneur named Valerie owns the shop, and again, incredible pieces. I mean, you can always go to the bigger stores as well, but I find it's the little boutiques, the out of the way places where you can get some unique items and usually much better quality than you can from the bigger chains.
Yeah. Thank you. I will definitely be checking out Meow and Bark.
Yes, definitely. I'm telling you, they have some fly stuff. You're gonna love it.
So, what would your I'm sorry. What are some great lifestyle tips that you can share with us?
Great lifestyle tips. You want like fashion tips? You want just in general?
Just in general, like maybe something around organization and just, dealing with the day to day madness, anything that you can share with us that maybe you have learned along the way
You
that,
know what? What I have learned along the way is, you know what, life is short.
hmm
And so, I'm someone who loves to be pretty organized. I love a beautiful space, but you want things around you that make you feel comfortable, that make you smile, that make you feel happy. If anything that you are considering buying, you've got your eye on, but it's stressing you out, it's not worth it. I would say that hands down is a tip I would give to anyone. If it's stressing you out, you're stressing about a way to afford it. It's not worth it. Organization wise, and just keeping yourself on schedule and on track. Make your list, make your goals. I always say, your list should have no more than 3 things on it per day. So don't make a full list of like 22 items that you need to check off for a day. Just 3 items that you would be ecstatic if you checked off, and they can be small, they can be big, but you just have 3 items on there that you can go through. Don't overwhelm yourself. Again, life is short. Like if you've got a task list of 100 items, like you're just going to stress yourself out. It's too short for that. Pick the 3 priorities, put them on your list, and then try to knock those out.
oh, I love that. That is great advice. Because sometimes when I go to bed at night, I have so many things in my head and I don't sleep properly. And I was listening to something and they said that you should do a brain dump before you go to bed and write down some of the stuff. So, like, if you take what you just said, the top 3 things, and write those things down and say, that's my goal for tomorrow or even for today or whatever, I think that could really help. I love
I
that.
agree. I agree. I think we try to overwhelm ourselves. We try to be super women and supermen and try to get everything done. And it's like, you know what? It's not that you don't have time for it, but you want to live your life as well. So pick the 3 important things. Even if you do a brain dump at the end, once you've done your brain dump, circle the 3 most important things, and that's what you're focusing on.
Absolutely. So what are your plans for your blog? Like where would you like to see it go in the future or with your blog, like what is the dream gig for you?
So with the blog specifically, I mean, I'd love to see it keep growing and going. I have a goal of having other contributors and getting other voices on there as well. So not just mine, sort of growing it not just as a blog, but sort of as a news destination.
hmm
That's what it's become for my readers. And I'd love to keep it growing in that way. And for me, additionally, I'd love to obviously keep doing on camera segments. I'd love to have my own show one day,
Yeah.
whether it's a digital show or a TV show. I think I'd be amazing.
hmm
Have as a lifestyle host. And so I hope to do that one day as well. And I've done a couple of pilots, which have been really fun. And so I just, I keep doing the auditions. I keep doing my segments, and I hope to have my own show one day.
That's awesome. Have you done anything on the platforms that are available? Like I know they have like these Facebook platforms now and YouTube where you can like do your own show.
Yeah, so I have my own YouTube channel, and so it's still growing. So it's not as big as my blog just yet, but
hmm
it's still growing. And so I will go and do sort of tech unboxing on there, car reviews as well, and it's just Sherelle Star on at YouTube or YouTube/Sherelle Star, and so you can go there and see some of my segments there that I just do myself. And yeah, I've also been on Leave TV.
hmm
I've done a couple of episodes for them as well, on just sort of, that was more of a culture type show,
hmm
talking about beauty and Black women. And so that was really fun for that particular show and series. But yeah, I definitely love again, I'm into technology. So I love the new platforms. I love the channels that are available. And yeah, you don't have to wait for someone to give you your own show. You can just do it yourself. And I've definitely done that as well.
Good. That's awesome. So what are your thoughts on the Fenty Beauty? Have you tried their makeup yet?
Oh, girl, I just got my hands on it. Just got my hands on it. Like in love, in love, in love.
Yeah,
So
I like it
I
too. I
I don't
do.
know why it took so long for these companies to pay attention. Rihanna's got them shook.
Yeah, now everybody's like stepping it up, right?
Everyone's got multiple shades now.
You
So
know
so
what?
amazing how that works.
I know. You know what else I love? I tried just on a whim. A friend gave it to me. It was black opal. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and the foundation is actually very nice. I use that because I'm, dark skin.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's tricky to find the right, foundation. But that black opal is good. And I was really shocked that the Rihanna looked good on me. I mean, I know that it's for like they have every shade, but I still was like, I'm not so sure about that. But my sister gave it to me and I was like, wow, I really like this. And I like that it's matted, you know?
Yes. So with the Fenty Beauty Brianna, so wasn't I able to get a match on my foundation, but I on the highlighter, on the lipstick, amazing. And even though I wasn't able to match my skin, just putting on the foundation, it felt so good. Like my skin could
Yeah.
breathe. It wasn't the right shade for me, but I'm okay. I'm gonna give her time to work it out for my personal shade because at least she's trying.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yep.
So I have nothing but love for that brand. Again, I just got my hands on it maybe a week and a half ago. I happened to be walking by Sephora, and they finally had it back in stock, and I was like all over it.
Yeah. Rihanna's amazing.
She is. That's definitely a role model out there. I
I
love her.
know. And I never thought that she would morph into, who she is today. Like when you remember when she first came out, like
Yeah.
I know I really didn't. Like she's, like this big philanthropist. She does like so much stuff. She has so many businesses. Like she is about her business. Like I just didn't see that coming. I really didn't.
Yeah, it's about sometimes once you figure out what you're here to do and you get on your path, there's nothing stopping you at that point. And
Right.
so, I mean, that should be the goal for all of us. It's just to figure out let's figure out the path we're supposed to be on and then follow it.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you feel like you're living a purpose-driven life?
I definitely do. It took a long time to get here. I don't know if you know, I grew up bouncing around foster care homes, and and it's interesting to look back on my life, where I started versus where I am now, and the fact that not only am I able to do the things I love to do with my blog and being on TV and doing segments, but I also get to give back. I volunteer for two different boards for foster youth. One is
Nice.
City Living in New York City, and they actually help youth who've aged out of foster care and are aging into and moving into their first home. And then also CASA, which is court appointed special advocates. And these are basically like volunteer social workers who help youth who are still in care. And so I am on the board for both of those organizations. And the fact that I get to, one, help them raise money, help them change the lives of youth and young adults. I mean, it's so powerful. But again, it took a while to get here, to be comfortable in my positions, in my full-time job, and then also in my side hustle where I can actually give back that time. And so I definitely feel that what I'm doing is full of purpose. And I now have the luck and just the I'm fortunate enough to have the time to do that.
Was there ever a time when you felt discouraged, like maybe you wouldn't achieve the goals or the visions that you had in your mind for yourself?
I honestly, yes, I think we all have those moments when we're worried that we're never going to make it, or, we're not moving fast enough and everyone else seems to be moving way faster than we are and they have more. And so I think we all come across those moments of self-doubt, and just frustration, just self-frustration. But what I always say is sometimes you just got to cry
Yeah.
and then shake it off and move on. And we've got to be able to do that. And it's okay to sometimes feel like you're be frustrated by the situation, but you can't feel like you're not enough. You can't feel like you're not trying enough if you probably are, and you just got to keep at it, and keep moving forward and don't beat yourself up. I mean, I've seen people who are putting their all into projects beat themselves up because it's just not moving fast enough. And sometimes we have to take a step back and think about what you've accomplished to this point and actually celebrate yourself and celebrate the wins. And it's not always about comparing yourself to other people. We all are walking different paths, and it's going to take different amounts of time for us to get to where we need to be. But we've got to remember to celebrate everything that we've achieved along the way. And if we don't celebrate it for yourself, who's going to?
That's great advice. I love how positive you are. That's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
I really do. So, this is the Oh Hell No podcast. So you have to share an Oh Hell No moment with us, something that happened. It could be recent, it could be old, but it's a moment where you had to stop and say, "Oh hell no." It could be like a mental thing, or you might have said it out loud, but we just want to know what that moment was.
You know what? It probably a couple years ago. I was again when we were started the conversation about PR. I actually went for an interview. It was a third round interview with this company. I won't say their name. If you catch me over drinks one day, I might tell you. But this really well known PR firm, and it was a third interview. I had met with everyone else on the team. I was meeting with the CEO. So I go to meet with the CEO, and I'm looking, appropriate for an interview, a third round meeting with the CEO. I'm dressed well. My hair is done. My nails are done. I got cute shoes on. And the HR rep walks me into the CEO's office. The CEO looks me up and down. And at this point, my hand is out to shake her hand. She looks at my hand and looks away.
Wow.
And so I'm like, okay, fine. So no worries. So I do the interview with her. Literally, she would not ask me a single question, not a single question. So I'm interviewing her at this point. Like, so tell me what inspired you to start this firm and just trying. So our interview lasted like less than 5 minutes. She walks me out again, refuses to shake my hand. And so HR takes me to meet with a couple other people, senior level on her team. I meet with them. They love me. And to the point where it's clear they love me. They feel I'm going to be great at the job. I call the recruiter afterwards. I'm like, hey, just want to let you know, I don't think that went really well. I could tell that she was not feeling me from the moment she saw me. But I think it went well with everybody else, but I don't think she's going to want me to get this job. So recruiter calls them, and she calls me back, and she's like, yeah, she said she didn't like your shoes. And I'm like, oh, hell no. It wasn't the shoes. It was the color of the girl who was wearing them.
Right. Oh my gosh, I can't even deal.
Yeah, but the best part about that story is the recruiter is like, oh, well, I talked with a couple other people and they think you'd be great at the job. So if you would, they want you to write in, a paragraph about all the things you've done, and they want to fight for you to get this role. Like I had impressed so many other people that I met with that they wanted me to sort of like, they wanted to make a case for me with this woman. And I was like, you know what? It's really not worth it.
Right.
I would love to work with the people one day in another capacity. But it's just not going to work out. Like there's no way that she's going to let me do my job if I were to work there.
Exactly. Wow. See? And people think we're crazy.
Yeah.
No, people, it happens. It's
It
real.
happens. It happens. But again, I was very upset. But you've got to shake it off and keep it moving. Like
Right.
you look, I was pissed off. I called my girlfriend who works in HR. I told her the story. I told everyone the story. But at the end of the day, it's like, you've got to keep it moving. One day I hope to be in a role where I get to give people opportunities instead of like making snap decisions about them.
Right. Absolutely. That's a great way to look at it. Find the positive in that negative moment. The thing that always amazes me about stuff like that is how those people get to that place in life where they can make those types of decisions. It just boggles my mind when I see people like that.
I know it's very frustrating. It usually comes from a place of privilege.
Yeah.
I won't say there's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about that. There are people who are more privileged out there than we may necessarily be. But again, it's about us striving and trying to move forward and trying to get into those roles where we get to help someone else out and make decisions. And you know what? Good on her team, honestly. Like, they may not be able to control her, but good on her team for letting me know I wasn't crazy, letting me know they thought I was the best candidate. In another year or 5 years, maybe they'll be brave enough to call her on her BS.
Yeah.
But good on them for at least being willing to stick their necks out in that moment. If I had decided to sort of fight that, but I knew it wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah, good for you for knowing that, that's not for me. I'm not that desperate,
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, Carell, it was such a pleasure talking to you and getting to know a little bit about you and your journey. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. And
Well, thank you for having me. This has been so much fun.
yes, please tell everyone where they can visit your blog, how they can follow you on Instagram or Facebook or wherever it is that you have a following, a presence.
Sure. Well, definitely follow me on Instagram at Carell Star, CharellStar. You can also find me on my blog, notjustagirlinadress.com. And you can also follow me on Twitter at Carell Star as well. And if you ever decide to make a donation to a foster youth organization, check out citylivingny.org or Casa New York.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Nicole.